So I've made two videos talking about how much I love the game Hood, but today we're going to talk a little bit more negative about the game. This game's got some problems. What's up guys, it's Diceax. Today we're talking about Hood. This video is going to be my perspective on the game after more than 30 hours played. So grab a drink, relax, let's talk about some video games. Hood has been officially released for a few days now. I've been playing it since the pre-release that started around the 7th. Currently I have like 31 hours in the game, and while my enjoyment of the game started out very high, right now the game's getting a little bit stale. At the start, the game felt like what an Assassin's Creed PvP game would have been. You're sneaking around, executing enemies, both NPCs and other players. You're using the various characters' strengths, working together. It was a ton of fun. I was able to get a couple of friends together for a few games and it was a blast. Overall, it was a great experience, and if I had stopped there, I would have been happy with my initial video on the game. I would have called it a day. But I kept playing the game. I had plans to continue making content about the game, so it was easy to keep playing to gather new footage. I was enjoying two of the characters quite a bit. I started to develop my own strategy to win games. On the Hunter, I would rush the Sheriff, I would steal the key, usually before the enemy team was even anywhere close by. I'd find the vault door, smoke bomb the guard to get an easy execution on him, and then I'd ping the vault, ping my team to carry the chest, and then just proceed to murder the shit out of the enemy team over and over while they try to claw back into the game. I was pretty successful with this method too. Even if we didn't end up winning, I would still get a good chunk of bonus XP for completing two of the major objectives, and I'd just move on to the next game. After a while though, I realized that every time I queued up, no matter how often I won or lost, or what my level was, I would still get matched with like a mixed bag of either brand new players or players around my level, which means that there's no matchmaking rank in the game at all. This kind of took me by surprise. Most competitive games that I've played in the past would attempt to match you with players at least somewhat close to your experience level to give you a more balanced game. But no. In Hood, you could be the best player of all time and still get matched against players with little to no experience. It really doesn't seem fair. The lack of a ranked queue type was bad enough, but no MMR system at all just makes the game a little bit less fun for me. The combat in the game always felt a little bit clunky, and that feeling only got worse the more I played. But I accepted the game's mechanics and I just tried to enjoy it despite them. I found ways of making the combat more enjoyable with different perk builds for each character, but then I just ended up playing the same build over and over and over, whichever one felt the strongest. The perks are not really well balanced, and there just aren't enough options, to be honest. Not to mention, for me, a competitive game is most fun on an even playing field. The fact that John is just objectively worse without the perk that lets you one-shot people with your sprint attack, but you don't unlock that until like level 7 or something on John. So if the John on your team just doesn't have it and the enemy does, you're kind of shit out of luck. It wouldn't be so bad if a ranked queue type unlocked after you unlocked all the perks for a character, which would be absolutely fair. But again, there just isn't. It just feels like the perk system doesn't have enough going on there. There aren't enough options, there aren't enough slots, and they're completely unbalanced. Now, I don't really want to touch on the fact that the game feels like a console port on PC, and the frame rate is capped at like only 62. I know a lot of people have mentioned this problem already, and while I agree with them in thinking that this should not be the case, I don't want to hammer on it too much. Instead, I want to talk about the game's progression. Unlockable content to play and unlockable cosmetic only content is what I firmly believe keeps players playing a game longer. With nothing else to separate yourself from other players in the game than your level, which just means you play more, this is all we have. If you see a John player with a skin that you unlock for reaching rank 10 on John, you know that player is probably really good on John or has a really good idea of what he's doing on the character. I like this system. My problem with it though is its lack of depth. For example, you can make John's hammer look really cool compared to the hammer you start with, but why can't you unlock a giant sword to swing around? Or an axe? or some other giant weapon. Robin's bow skins, they look great. But what if I want to play Robin, but I wanted to focus more on melee damage? There are no options to change a character's loadout or weapons at all, only perks, which as I mentioned before, are very limited. Now there are games that don't allow this type of customization and are still very fun. Valorant, for example. Except the difference is, in Valorant, the combat has a ton of depth and a massive skill cap. And that game has a ranked progression system and an MMR system for games that aren't ranked. So new players aren't queuing up into diamond players and getting spanked as often. It happens occasionally, sure, but not nearly as often as it happens in Hood. Hood is fun. I mean, hell, I've played it for more than 30 hours, and I'll still probably play it even after this video. I have a couple of friends that are into it still, and I'm happy to play with them anytime. I just wish it had more. I know this game is not like AAA, it's just a AA title, and for the $30 price tag, it's really not bad. But I do understand why the reviews on Steam are mixed, with only 60% as of writing this video being positive. Players obviously want a game like Hood, it sold really well. They just want more out of it. It meets expectations and then that's it. After 30 hours, I just try to soak as much experience as I can every game so I can unlock stuff and that's it. I really don't even care if I lose, because all I lose is a little tiny bit of experience and gold. I want to play Hood, but I also want to distinguish myself from other players by being good at it. When I invest my time into a game and I get good at it, I want to be rewarded by the game with more than just one or two decent looking cosmetics. I want a leaderboard, a profile, to show off my rank and my achievements. There's no way that's asking for too much from a game that feels like it wants to be competitive. There's no denying that the only game mode that's fun in Hood is the player versus player match. It's a competitive game. You go into it and your adrenaline's pumping. You want to beat the crap out of the enemy team. You want to outplay. You want to make plays. It's a competitive game. It's just missing all of the other stuff that make competitive games worthwhile. I really hope someone that works on Hood watches this video, because honestly, you guys made a great product. It's tons of fun. It just feels like an unfinished console port. It needs more attention paid to the game's systems and reward features, as well as PC and PC gamers in general. If you're still here, I really want to thank you for watching this until the end. Hopefully it means you enjoyed my content and will consider subscribing to see more. I've been posting a lot lately, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.